Hello, everyone, and welcome to the KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show. I am your host, Priscilla Jean-Louis, and when I tell you all, I am so happy to be on the air with you all today. I just want to remind you to make sure that you are making sure you stay safe no matter where you go. That means ensuring that you use the buddy system. If you go in an unfamiliar place, make sure you're coupled with someone you know to ensure your safety, especially right now when there is a lot of diseases going on. I also encourage you to make sure you wear your mask. Make sure that if you need to get a booster shot, you get your booster shot. Do what you have to do to ensure your safety and to ensure that you stay healthy, because I really want you all to be safe. And I want to make sure that you all can still go out your normal day without having to deal with any other illnesses. I thank every single person who continuously listens to the show, because without you all support, I would not be here. And I am just grateful to be on. Before I go right into the topic, I do encourage you to make sure you download the Hallelujah 95.3 app so that you can listen to the show on the go on your electronic devices. I ask today that you tag a friend or a caregiver, because today's discussion is going to be just for them. To get right into it, today I want to discuss a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I mean, over the past couple weeks, I've been talking about hot, heavy hitter topics, but this week I really want to hone in Alzheimer's dementia and its effects on my loved ones. For those unaware, Alzheimer's is a progressive form of dementia that affects memory, thinking, and behavior. Those who exhibit symptoms tend to gradually worsen over a number of years, and personally, it has affected several members of my family, including my grandmother, aunts, uncles, and my late great-grandmother. It has also graced me with the opportunity to step into the role of a secondary youth caregiver. However, I would not have been able to have the opportunity without my mom making a selfless decision to care for my grandmother. Therefore, today I have my mother, Priscilla Jean-Louis, here with me to talk about our caregiver life. But before she comes in, I do want to give her a nice introduction. Again, Priscilla Jean-Louis is an ambassador of servant leadership, a nationally sought after graphic designer, an inspirational podcaster for family caregivers, also an upcoming best-selling author. As the owner, CEO, and lead graphic designer of K&D Creative Design and Marketing Solutions, she specializes in graphic design, web design, video production, and social media marketing and management. Her professional expertise has been enhanced over 25 years by administrative, hospitality, and marketing management experience accumulated while serving in ministerial leadership. In her free time, she enjoys reading, journaling, and spending time with my sister and I, Destiny. She also is my momager in all aspects of my life. So when it comes to Kaylin's Caring Connection, the radio show, and everything I do, she is always there. And she inspires me to be the best young lady that I can be. Again, her name is Priscilla Jean-Louis. Welcome to the show, Mom.
Thank you so much for having me on your show today. I'm so excited.
It is my honor and pleasure, because many people know that I get a lot of everything I do from you. And so I felt that it'd be good for us to just have a conversation to talk about our journey and to bring more awareness to Alzheimer's. So just to get right into it, I want to give you the space to really tell everyone how our caregiving journey got started.
All righty, I will do that again. I am so very excited to be on here with you, Kaylin. I'm just honored and elated to be here. And back to the topic at hand, my caregiver journey, our caregiver's journey started about going on 8 years ago, and it started with your granny, who, of course, is my mom, and she was diagnosed with dementia. Started right after a surgical procedure that she had on her back, and kind of progressed from there. And so over the last 7 to 8 years, we have taken on this responsibility, and that's kind of where it all started. She had the surgery and ended up staying with us on the weekends, and then it went from weekends to weeks, and then we moved in with her to make life easier for her. And she just has been here since that time. So that's where our journey started.
Yes, and I mean, I guess I could say myself that since our journey got started, it's definitely broadened our world to learning new things when it comes to learning how to effectively take care of Granny and being able to make sure that we are also taking care of ourselves when we're caring for her. And it's taught me just more about enjoying the moments in life, enjoying every precious time you get with anyone in your life, because you never know when they may be situations like this. Because unfortunately, as I stated earlier, Alzheimer's does cause those who have it to not always remember what's going on. So there's some instances where my grandmother may not recall what I said 5 minutes ago, let alone a second ago, because of what stage she is in and how much it has progressed. And I mean, on a day-to-day basis, I know that with me, I'm helping provide any care I can to my mom because, like I said, I'm secondary. So if my mom is working and she needs someone to watch my grandmother, I'm out there making sure she's okay. I will help wash dishes and make sure that if she's eating, I clean up what she's doing. I will help make sure that my grandma's taken care of. And for things that are more personable, like my mom will take her to shower, she'll make sure that she's good because for my mom, my grandma knows that my mom is her person, is her everything. I mean, anyone who knows, anytime you come out the room, mom, she is right on you, right ready.
Anytime, stays on my hip.
Yes, and she is just, I'm happy that we're given the opportunity to care for us because we both know that she was a caring person and she still is, even with dementia. She constantly cares about other people. And I mean, knowing that and knowing how that has gone, I also want to ask what are just some things that you've learned, even with this caring journey for grandma and for granny, about how has that been able to like teach you new lessons? Have you learned anything new? Yeah.
I have learned so much over these almost 8 years. One of the greatest things I think, we are Christians, and we believe in God and just, everything Bible. And so one of the greatest lessons that I have learned and that this has taught me is even the more the love, the compassion, the grace, the patience, the long suffering of God. I get to see that. And we're able to actually share that on a daily basis. And so I think for me, and it's not, I don't want to seem spiritual, but it is spiritual. For me, it helps me even the more to see God in a greater way, being able to serve. And that's what I call it. I call it serving. For me, it's serving. And I get to see God in a whole different way. And I think being able to see Him in a different way allows me to serve better, because at the end of the day, I want Him to be pleased with every single thing that I do. And I think what people have to realize, even as caregivers, what we have to realize is that this is something that God has entrusted us with, right? It's a gift to be able to care for our loved ones. There's a scripture in the Bible that explicitly talks about we as younger ones being able to take care of our parents, to return back to them what they've given to us. And so as you learn that and you understand even better that even being able to care for your parents and for your loved ones, it's really a gift that God has entrusted us with. And so when you get that, it makes serving even, it makes it even more special and even better, People ask me all the time, how in the world do you do it? Especially when grandmother, when grandma was alive. And, as you stated in the beginning of the show, in your introduction, she passed away this year. We were the caregivers of both my mom and grandmother, your granny and great grandmother. And, she went to be with the Lord back in January, but especially with two of them, always ask the question, how in the world do you do it? And it's grace. That's my answer every single time. It is by the grace of God that, he sustained us and that we've been able to really do this. And so many lessons that have been learned, and I'm still learning every single day, even greater lessons that come along with this.
I completely agree. I mean, even with this situation, I like that you mentioned the word serving because we have been able to serve both of them, even though grandma is not here. Just knowing that me as a child, I mean, you hear of a lot of adult caregivers, you hear of those adults taking care of their parents, but then when you look at the grandchildren, it's like some of them actually step in, and I like to be able to represent those because youth, they say that we are the future of the world, and so I believe that us being the future, it's good for us to serve. And so getting to serve my grandmother, getting to serve my great grandmother, knowing that I can help them, and for as long as God keeps them on this earth, that's what I wanted to do. That's why I continue to choose to care for Granny every day, and why I always chose to care for Grandma, because I knew that they were always there to care for us. And I also knew that if I'm in that situation one day, I'd want someone to care for me the same way. I know you say that all the time.
And
That,
that's it.
yeah.
That's the very thing. You, as the Bible says, we do unto others as we would have them to do unto us. And we do. You get back what you give. And I must take this opportunity as well, just to say how proud I am of you, Kaylin. And sometimes people find it hard to believe. Sometimes I step back and really look and say, wow, it's a blessing to have a 17-year-old, and you've been here every step of the way for the last almost 8 years. So even when you go back to that time at an earlier age, I step back at times, and I'm thankful to God that even at a young age, because you don't find many teenagers, many young people who are engulfed in serving and who are engulfed in caring without being made to do it. And it's not something that I've ever made you do. It's just been a part of who you are. And it's been a blessing to me to be able to see the heart and the compassion and the care that you give. And it hasn't been just for granny and grandma. You've always, from day one, you've been that child who's always been helpful and wanting to help. And so I think that it becomes even more important because as you continue to grow and become older, and God forbid, but if I'm in a situation where you have to care for me, this is not something that's new or foreign to you. It's something that you have been groomed for, and that's important because we live in a time period now where a lot of people, I'm not going to just say young people, but people in general are so engulfed in themselves, and it's all about them, and they really don't have a care or concern, a lot of people, for other people, and what I would even say, inconveniences of other people. Being a caregiver is not convenient. It's not convenient at all. It takes a lot of personal sacrifice. There's a lot of things that we give up. I give up. I do try to make sure that everything that you can be involved in, that you are involved in it, because I don't ever want caregiving to become something that's negative in your eyes. But it takes a lot of sacrifices over these last almost 8 years. There's a whole lot of things that I would love to do, that sometimes I want to do, but the sacrifice in it, you know, I can't. And so being a caregiver is a very selfless act that a lot of people just they shy away from it because it takes away the convenience from them. But what I found it to be, even in the midst of it, is a blessing, you know. And you learn not to dwell on what you can't do. You learn how to continue to celebrate what you can do, and in that time that you get to still spend with your loved one.
And I mean, you saying that, it goes down again to perspective, as you said. I mean, it's your thought, it's the way you deal with it. I mean, like she said, I'm 17. I could have easily been that kid who's just like, okay, why do I have to care for my grandmother? Why do I have to not do this or not do that? But it's like, even though we cared, you've always made sure that I could still follow my heart, follow what I wanted to do, especially with things like this. I mean, those who listen to the radio show, we do this. This is us, but we're also caregivers. And so just going into making sure that all the production, everything behind it, it's because we work as a team. I mean, we're talking about mother-daughter caregivers. It's our special connection. It's that mother duo bond that I think allows us to continue to push through our caregiver life and continue when we have those moments of, oh, this is not the best time, or you see those sad moments where you would wish that the person you're caring for remembers a certain thing, or you can see that they're transitioning into another stage. It may suck, but then you're able to say, well, at least we have each other. And there are a lot of people who are caregivers and may not have that, which is why I'm grateful. And I mean, that's why we raise awareness for it. Speaking of awareness, we could talk about my grandmother having Alzheimer's, and that's how my mom, she's doing research, she discovers the Alzheimer's Association. So I just want to know, how'd you get involved with that, Mom?
And it was absolutely through that, through the research, because as this disease has progressed, I mean, we've seen it. I've seen it my entire life. Grandma, and for those that, may say, well, grandma. So my grandmother that stayed with us, that's my grandmother by love, right? But Granny's mom, as well as Granny's father, as well as, so Granny has two sisters who transitioned. One transitioned almost 3 months ago. And then Aunt Lillian, who was last year. So that's two sisters. She currently has two brothers who also have dementia right now. And so when you talk about a trace in a family, we've seen this. The difference is when you're growing up and you see it all the time, you tend to think that it's just something that happens to older people. At least that was my thought. And so it wasn't until I came face to face with it with Granny that I had to either make a decision to say, you know what, I need to put some more time into researching this thing because it's happening way too often. And so through my research, as Granny's dementia began to progress, anytime I ran into an obstacle, and even now, anytime I run into an obstacle of behavior that is not familiar, I research and I try and figure out what's going on. And so in my research, I ran across the Alzheimer's Association, and I found out about the services that they provide, the research that goes into Alzheimer's, and being able to, because right now at this point there's no cure for Alzheimer's. There's no cure for it. You get it, and as you stated in your introduction, it just progressively gets worse and worse and worse. And so Alzheimer's is a form of dementia, right? So it just continues to, and we don't have the time or the space to talk about dementia as a whole, but I just wanted to point that out because a lot of people look and say, oh, but Alzheimer's it's a form of dementia. We'll talk about that. Well, I'll talk about that later on my podcast. But at any rate, in my research, I found out about the walk. And the Alzheimer's Walk is actually the largest fundraiser that the Alzheimer's Association puts on. It brings in the most funds for the research that goes into trying to find a cure for it. It goes towards caregivers, helping caregivers, those of us who are caring for them. Right now, there's over 6 million people who are living with Alzheimer's. That number is projected to increase tremendously. But when you consider 6 million people with Alzheimer's, when you consider the caregivers, those people who care for them, that number becomes even larger. And that's a lot of people, a whole lot of people. And so I got involved with the Alzheimer's Association with the walk when I found out that there was a walk here in Tallahassee. And so, I've been connected to the Alzheimer's Association in that capacity this is my 5th year with the walk.
Woo-woo.
And so, yep, 5th year.
And I mean, as she said, she got involved with the Alzheimer's Association because we both are researchers. We love looking up information and instances. And I mean, she started her own team with the hashtag my favorite
My
girl, where
favorite
she
girl, that's who it is.
raising funds towards the cause of finding a cure and all the research that goes behind that the Alzheimer's Association does. And so that inspired me because I started the Youth Care 2 movement in 2021. That was to make sure that other youth caregivers like me or similar to me who may be caring for someone who has Alzheimer's or just caring for someone who is ill or is not able to provide necessary care for themselves. I wanted them to know that there were others who saw them, who saw what they were going through, and while they cared for others, I wanted to care for them. And so we started that team last year with the Alzheimer's Walk, where we were able to raise $1,000 thanks to all of the help from everyone in the community. And we're doing it again this year. I mean, I did want to mention that because, like my mom said, it is here in Tallahassee. There's walks all over the world where people are walking for this same cause, but ours happens to be held this year, November 12th, at Cascades Park. That will begin at 10 a.m., correct?
It's going to be at 11. So there is a pre, we call it a pre-ceremony that will begin at 10 o'clock. And then the walk is at 11. So, yep.
And at this walk, we're going to be raising awareness. My goal is to have 100 youth walking with me. So if there are youth listening or you know of youth who want to get involved and walk, please join this cause. Me and my mom kind of are in the same one anyway, though, because when you hear Team Youth Care 2, it was inspired because of the hashtag my favorite girl. And so we're raising awareness for all those in our family who were affected. But we also want others to know that even if you weren't personally affected by someone who has Alzheimer's, you can always join the team. You can always walk, because the whole purpose behind this event is to truly let other people know that this is a disease that is affecting communities around the world. And we simply want to make sure that we hashtag in alls. We find a way to come up with a cure. We continue to raise money so that so much research can get done, because I know and I pray that one day God allows a cure to come so that families don't have to worry about their family members deteriorating from the disease, that it allows some change and allows us to take control of this selfish disease that is Alzheimer's dementia. So if you want to know more information about it, how you can join the team, how you can donate, please go to www.kaylenscaringconnection.com. And on there, you can click the events where you'll be able to see more about it. I'm sure as soon as you go on the website, though, it will pop up an announcement telling you about the walk where you can get all information, because I do want to have as many people out there as possible. And we truly want to just end Alzheimer's.
Yep. We want to bring about greater awareness. That's what it's all about. I actually sit on the walk committee. And, so we're on there, we're planning it. We're trying to make it as big as we can make it, bring in as many funds as we can bring in. One of the things, if you have not, and it doesn't take away from caregivers who are caring for anybody else, and I say that all the time, I always put that disclaimer in there, but there is absolutely nothing like caring for someone, especially your mom with dementia. I have seen a consistent decline and increase of just, things at this particular time. My mom's at a more advanced stage where right now we're on finger food. So anything outside of, you know, fork, spoons, that type of thing, she can't do that anymore. Something as simple as being able to get in and out of a bathtub. She can't do that anymore. She can get in, but it takes work to get her to understand what do you mean when you're trying to get her to just simply step over in to a bathtub. And so when you're watching this stuff, constantly in and day out, sometimes it can become very emotional for you when you're having to do that over and over again. But, I mean, that's where the word of God comes in and our strength comes in, and it takes prayer and other things that you're also able to do. I journal a lot. I write. Kaylin and I, we have our time where we chill. And sometimes that's all it takes, just getting your mind off of it. But that's what all of this is about, is being able to bring greater awareness. I also sit on the Black African American Ideal Community Advisory Council with the Alzheimer's Association. And we have a whole lot of things that are coming up with that I'm going to be sharing about on my podcast. Some of it will come, Kaylin will share as well, because we want to help bring about greater awareness, especially not taken away from any others, but when it comes down to Alzheimer's, African Americans and African American women are at a 2-time greater rate of, developing Alzheimer's, dementia. So are Hispanics. We have a lot of people that are at risk, but we don't have many who are really highly involved in the research aspect of it. And so you're going to hear a lot about it from me. There's some things Kaylin is learning when it comes to research, because this is important. And not just the research, but being able to get involved in the research so that we can make sure that we are represented, so that as these, the research is going about and we're looking for a cure, we're able to be a part of that and we're not left out. So, all of this is very important. And so, I'm grateful, Kaylin, for the opportunity that you've given me to come on and share with you, just talking about our mother-daughter. The teamwork that we have over here is second to none. And I'm just proud. I'm a proud mother. I'm a thankful mother, that I'm not having to fight with you in the midst of being a caregiver, because that could be another added pressure. Right. And so I'm grateful that I'm not having to be stressed and strained by anything with you. And so I'm thankful. And I say thank you to you for just simply being who you are.
Of course. And I thank you for just inspiring me to continue to raise awareness for the things I believe in, for the things that I believe truly will make a difference and can make a difference in others' lives. Just to kind of wrap everything up. I mean, as my mom stated, today we were talking about mother-daughter caregivers. We're talking about our caregiver life, just a way for us to be able to allow you all, the audience, to come in, for you all to listen and hear. This is what our everyday life looks like. This is what
Some
caregivers
of it,
around the
a
world.
very small part
Yeah,
of it.
this is a small part and just a little taste of what some caregivers may be going through. But there's so many people who have been affected by Alzheimer's. There's so many people who have to care for someone. And so the thing that I would say that I really wanted everyone to get out of this show is that it's okay to raise awareness in that while Alzheimer's does affect us, we choose to care. We choose to serve because they served us. We choose to do this because of all the love that the ones before us, our loved ones before us, did. And I also want you to take the time to cherish all the time you have with your loved ones, whether they have Alzheimer's, whether they don't, because life is life. Life is too short. We've seen a lot of people, especially in our climate in our world, that are here 1 second and gone the next. Take the time to cherish those relationships, to be able to make sure that you truly take care of and you truly nourish the people in your life, because they are your support system. They're going to be there to make sure you're okay. And family is family. I mean, whether they were born in or they came. So, to those joining me, I thank you so much for listening. This is us. We just wanted to share our caregiver life. Make sure that you do listen out for that upcoming event with the Tallahassee Walk to End Alzheimer's this year. And that is all I have for today. I do ask that you please connect with me on all my social media platforms. That is on Instagram at Kaylin Cares 15. You can connect with me on Facebook and LinkedIn at Kaylin's Caring Connection. And to find everything about Kaylin's Caring Connection, please go to www.kaylinscaringconnection.com. Thank you so much for listening, and catch me on the next episode of the KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show.